Дякуємо за авто підписникам Меркадо Медіа. В цей час воно нам дуже необхідне.
Дякуємо глядачам каналу Меркадо Медіа за збір на цю автівку. Слава ЗСУ!
Слава Україні! Я головний сержант 2-ї саперної інженерної роти 33-го окремого інженерного батальйону. Хочу висловити подяку Меркадо та його підписникам за таку чудову машину. Ця машина нас приведе ближче до перемоги. Победа за нами, слава Україні!
Hi guys, today I want to appreciate the Mercado Media, all the friends and subscribers and the Navy community for this wonderful pickup truck. Слава Україні!
Героям слава! Всім привіт! Я Вадим, позивний режисер, 42-га окрема механізована бригада. Ми зараз ведемо бої на Харківщині. Дякую Меркадо Медіа і всім підписникам його каналу за придбаний автомобіль. Він дозволить нам ефективно і успішно виконувати бойові завдання на Харківщині. Я сподіваюся, що цей автомобіль дозволить швидше здобути нашу перемогу. Слава Україні!
I want to give a big thank you to Mercado Media and Johnny FD, two close friends who have helped me create this fundraiser between ourselves to help raise funds for what is needed essentially on the front line. And I also want to give a big thank you to both Mercado Media and Johnny FD's followers for helping us achieve this goal of funding the first car for our fundraiser. The car is going to be put to good use on the front lines in aiding us with helping to carry out our mission and also helping us to clear Ukraine of the invader. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Mercado Media, Johnny FD, Kostak Gundi, and all your subscribers for the generous donation of this van. It will help us with our logistics in the International Legion.
Dear friends of NATO, my name is Pete, hasta la vista, from Project Constantine. This beautiful beast was donated to the brigade that we're friendly with in the forest here, 67 Brigade. 69th Infantry Brigade donating to 67. It's pretty cool. I keep bumping into this vehicle in the forest. We never have time. We never have time to actually make any videos or get inside your vehicle and do any missions with it because we're like passing ships in the night here. But Mercado Media, Andrew, you NATO supporters, it's beautiful to see this grand vehicle that you've got for this brigade because it's a reliable vehicle and I've never seen it anywhere other than in the forest. I've never seen it in the garage. And yes to that, and all Ukrainians must live. Bakhmut is Ukraine. This forest is Ukraine. And Mercado Media and NATO, you guys are here supporting us, man, and we freaking love you to pieces. Thank you for what you're doing for the soldiers of Ukraine. God bless you. To victory. Do peremoje.
How you doing, everybody? Check into the stream. Good. What is it? What day is it today now? Is it Wednesday? Boy, what day is it? Wednesday. Something like that. How we doing, everybody? Check in. I gotta fix my ticker, too. No ticker until it's fixed. I'm gonna adjust myself. How is everybody doing? How are we doing? Check in. Happy freaking Wednesday. What a back and forth. And speaking of Ukraine, there's Russia's losses as of today, June 24th. Another 1,200. So well over 1 million. Yeah, Wednesday. Got 7 AFEs, 100 vehicles and fuel tanks, 1 tank, 21 artillery systems, 198 UAVs, 12 cruise missiles, and that's where Russia's at in their invasion of Ukraine. All right, that's where we're going. How you guys all doing? What a day yesterday. I had to go touch grass and play softball. Had to go out there and get some exercise. So I wasn't live covering the back and forth with the ceasefire, not ceasefire. Trump announcing that, hey, we have a ceasefire. I should have a Nobel Peace Prize for this. And then Israel and Iran exchanged rockets all night and until today, to this morning. As of now, it appears it's shaky because they were exchanging rockets back and forth well past the ceasefire today. But then Donald Trump came out and said, hey, I'll just play it for you guys. He's like, I think it broke him because not a single president will be able to solve this conflict like Trump wanted to. I don't know what he thought. If he even wanted to end it himself, or I don't know what he thought between Israel and Iran. Israel is at war with Iranian proxies perpetually, nonstop. And it's gone back decades and decades and decades. So I don't know. Here's the complete exchange. It's about a 6-minute clip. We can check this out. And then again, as of right now, it appears the ceasefire is holding, but we'll see how this all plays out. Taco Tuesday.
I don't think so, but I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. Ridiculous.
These guys got to calm down.
Plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere.
Yeah, that was how the rest of us, you know, he's the president of the United States, but all of us that aren't the president were reacting the same way. Like, yeah, you know, you're the guy that declared a ceasefire yesterday night and we're patting yourself on the back. George Bush, mission accomplished truth on his Truth Social. And then, yeah, immediately Israel and Iran were exchanging rockets. And then I was reporting on it. And then I had cultists in my comments saying, well, it doesn't start until 11 p.m. And then they've been exchanging rockets until this morning. I have to sleep. So when I woke up around noon, this came out. And as of right now, it's 2:21 p.m. So 2 hours after I've woken up. And it appears as of right now, the ceasefire is now holding. But that can change in an instant.
That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that Israel either.
I'm not happy about that Israel.
All I do is play both sides. I'm going now, as you know, to NATO. Some of you are going with me, and I think it's going to be successful. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Are you going to see the agreement? It's a new dawn in the Middle East. Thanks to the agreement you managed to achieve. What are your future plans for the region, for Saudi Arabia, Israel, Gaza, the hostages?
Look, you're asking me about women in the Middle East. It's getting a lot better. Things are happening at a high level. As you know, Saudi Arabia's done a really good job. It's coming out far faster than I thought. So we're very happy about what's happening with women in the Middle East.
No, I'm talking about a new dawn in the Middle East that you managed to achieve last night.
Yeah.
You know, the region is going to a new place with this agreement. Can you tell us what's your future plans for Gaza, for the hostages?
Yeah. It's a new dawn. I appreciate the question. You're very nice. Who are you?
Thank you. I'm Neria Kraus from Israeli Channel 13 News.
Well, we have to have Israel calm down because they went on a mission this morning. I got to get Israel to calm down now.
Did you get to speak with the Prime Minister? Did you talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu last night?
I speak to everybody.
You urge both sides not to violate the ceasefire, but reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. I don't think I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back.
They did. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They've been at war forever. Okay.
I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay?
Have you spoken to him this morning? How confident are you that
I don't think Trump could negotiate his way out of a Chuck E. Cheese, okay?
I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots did an unbelievable job. And, you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean.
Yeah, way to put the pilots in front of you. That's what's actually happening. No, I haven't seen anybody like actually attack the Air Force or the pilots. I don't know, maybe some like I don't know, like a niche crowd, but overall it's focused on you because you're the commander in chief and directed them to do that. Directed them to do that.
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see.
The pinpricks. Yeah, so we still don't have a BDA on our bombings of Iran and their nuclear facilities. And instead of like provide as the president of the United States, you have the ability to own the fake news media and drop some more images or something, because we have the ability to find out what the hell happened actually, and not show like satellite images with like little craters that isn't the facility. The facility is still there. The underground part might not be. Who knows? We don't know. Still don't.
That place is gone, and I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s.
Wow.
I think that MSDNC ought to apologize.
That's the spin. That's the spin. So they make it an issue of we're criticizing the pilots, and like it's the pilots are victims, and no one's even. If anything, we like saw the return of the B-2. We're like, wow, look at that alien plane. Anyways, Donald Trump sucks. No one. So he's trying to push off all of the accountability actually onto the pilots. That's what he's doing. The news isn't doing that.
Apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers.
Real losers.
You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all.
You don't have to. No, you don't. You don't have to watch CNN at all. You can't stop because you know that they're on you. You know that that's the facts, right? All of the Trump 2016 presidency and what he was able to do to the media. No, it's like, the corporate news. It's not. I'm not saying it's good, but it's like there's some journalists in there that are and have reported accurately on Donald Trump and the bad of him, and he always gets away with it by saying fake news. And so here he is like, I gotta watch it. No, you literally don't. You have media curated for you. You literally have Trump media now. You have Trump. Well, you don't, not official Trump media, but probably in the future along with his phone. But you have OAN, Newsmax, Fox News. You got 18 different radio stations that are conservative. Majority of YouTube channels are conservative. You got Joe Rogan. I mean, what else do you need? You don't need to watch CNN at all. Most right-wingers don't. They'll cry about it. They'll cry about CNN, but they never spend a minute watching it.
All fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of
Alex
people.
Jones, sure.
And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
Wow.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement, the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. When I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
He's mad. Oh, Trump said the F word. He says it all the time in private time. Like in his private life, he says it all the time. That's why he has to repeat himself, because that's how he always talks. But like in his campaign stuff, he has to do campaign speak. Or in his normal political speeches, he does campaign recycled speech, because otherwise he would just be saying fuck this, fuck that, fuck everything, because that's how he talks normally. That's how most conservatives talk. They just pretend they don't like it and they're criticizing it. That was always my favorite, is getting scolded by like, an old conservative grandmother or something. Like, you shouldn't say this. There's your sons and grandsons are going to hear this. But I don't give a do I think I care? You should hear what their grandsons and sons are saying. You should hear what they're talking about. With the president out here saying what the fuck they're doing. I don't think anyone knows what the fuck they're doing. Israel, Iran, or him. And we're all along for this roller coaster ride. We're all on the roller coaster. It's been fun, hasn't it been? And then, I mean, I laughed at this one, okay, because I don't know, it just was a funny moment. Like he's such a he's such a disgrace, but like, I just thought this was funny. I don't care.
You know, I'd like to see a deal with Russia. As you know, Vladimir called me up. He said, can I help you with Iran? I said, no, I don't need help with Iran. I need help with you.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you do. Oh, boy. It's all dog shit, isn't it? So that was on the plane. Kyle Rittenhouse is signing books today. That's how it's going. Okay, that's the other news. But we do have a State Department brief to watch. You have more Tammy today. You do have more Tammy. That is happening. We can get the latest briefing from her. She started late, so we don't have to watch the whole thing. It just finished. Oh, boy. Okay, you guys ready for Tammy? I know you guys missed her. I know you guys missed Tammy. Why can't we go full screen? Oh, boy. Thank God it's not an hour and 40 minutes. Oh, thank God. She doesn't start until 46 minutes. Thank goodness. That would have been rough. That would have been a rough one. All right, Tammy time. Lock in. It's time for Tammy. She's gonna tell us. Hi, everybody. She's gonna tell us what's going on out here.
Thank you, ma'am.
What the hell is going on, Tammy?
Here. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. I'll get mad at Fox when they try to come in here late. All right, you guys. Of course, a few comments here as we begin on this Tuesday. The past few days have proven that President Trump means what he says. America can be proud that we have a president who puts America first and is a peacemaker. As he said on his Truth Social, both Israel and Iran wanted to stop the war equally. It was my great honor to destroy all nuclear facilities and capability and then stop the war. Now, an update on the State Department's 24/7 efforts to assist U.S. citizens throughout the Middle East. The department has provided information and support to over 27,000 people seeking guidance regarding the conflict between Israel and Iran. The vast majority of people we are in touch with are seeking information, which we provide regularly. The State Department began assisted departure flights from Israel on June 21st. Flights have departed Israel with hundreds of U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents and their accompanying immediate family members. We are grateful to our partners in the region and around the world for welcoming American citizens. We also extend our deep appreciation for the government of Qatar's cooperation in the defense of the Udeid Air Base, as well as our deep appreciation for the American, I should say the Al Udeid Air Base, as well as the deep appreciation for the American men and women in uniform who are there and for the vital role they continue to play for U.S. and regional security. Yesterday, Iran launched several missiles against AUAB. Many of those missiles were successfully intercepted due to the combined efforts of the U.S. and Qatari armed forces. Thankfully, no Americans or Qataris were hurt. In further announcements today, Secretary Rubio has landed along with the president at the NATO summit at The Hague. As the secretary has noted, under President Trump's decisive leadership, we're driving historic change at NATO. Also this week, the United States will participate in the 55th Organization of American States General Assembly in Antigua and Barbuda, where we will engage with regional partners to advance our shared goals to make for a safer, stronger, and more prosperous hemisphere. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau will lead the U.S. delegation,
make hemispheres great again,
reinforcing our commitment to supporting Rosa Maria Paya's candidacy to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, addressing the crisis in Haiti, and countering the influence of the Chinese Communist Party in the Western Hemisphere. In addition, today, the Department of State's Rewards for Justice program announced a reward of up to $5 million for information leading to the location, recovery, and safe return of Mahmoud Shah Habibi. Mr. Habibi was abducted and detained by the Taliban's General Directorate of Intelligence on August 10, 2022. He has not been heard from since that time, and the so-called Taliban government has not yet provided any information about Mr. Habibi's whereabouts or condition.
Where is the Habibi?
We encourage anyone with information on Mr. Habibi to contact
Where is Habibi?
202-702-7843. That is +1-202-702-7843 via Signal, Telegram, or WhatsApp, or go to rewardsforjustice.net. That again is an up to a $5 million reward for Mahmoud Shah Habibi for his safe return. And again, that is rewardsforjustice.net. Excuse me?
She's not done. Okay? She's not done with her spiel. You will wait.
Is he in America?
I'm excuse me, Matt. Please. I have more of an announcement here.
Matt.
To conclude today, the United States condemns the brutal and cowardly attack on the Mar Elias Greek Orthodox Church and offers its condolences to the victims and their families. We call on the Syrian government to hold all perpetrators of violence accountable and ensure the security of all Syrians, including members of religious and ethnic minorities. As Ambassador Barak has said, the United States continues to support the Syrian government as it fights against forces seeking to create instability and fear in their country and in the broader region. And now I will take your questions. Daphne, please.
What about Matt?
Thank you.
Sure.
Just on Israel-Iran, Trump has said that he was unhappy with both sides for breaching the ceasefire deal, but particularly frustrated with Israel. Does the State Department have concerns about whether this truce will hold, and what conversations is Secretary Rubio having today with counterparts about this deal?
Yes, as I noted in my announcement, and actually what, of course, we always appreciate about President Trump is you never really have to guess at what he's thinking, which is a...
What? You never have to guess at what he's thinking? You can read a whole day of Trump posts and still be confused.
Appreciated. One of the most transparent men we've known. Americans in the world have watched all of this unfold, I think, in a very clear way, and certainly with the leader of the free world, of the world, really, essentially, in Donald Trump, making it clear his opinion. And this is what also, I think, keeps things moving. With any ceasefire dynamic, it's fragile. And in the meantime, of course, things did come together, and there has been quiet in that region. He did make clear his feelings about that. But as I mentioned in the opening, that he said, just a couple of hours ago, both Israel...
What did he say? Oh. Gosh. Let me read his truth.
Israel and Iran wanted to stop the war equally. It was my great honor to destroy all nuclear facilities and capability and then stop the war.
Yeah, we can read his posts. Like, are you really reporting on his social media? Like, they've been doing this. She's been doing it. Obviously, Nazi Barbie does it, but they just read his Truth Social and what he writes on social media.
So obviously, the president has believed from the beginning that diplomacy can stop wars, that it is the thing that we should rely on. He leaned into that, and it's continuing to work. This is a dynamic now that is in play and is, I think, steady, as he has, I believe, also recognized based on his comments.
And then on his comments about China being able to continue to purchase oil from Iran, how did this come together? Was this part of the Israel-Iran ceasefire deal? And what does that look like going forward? Will sanctions that have been imposed be lifted? Will there be waivers? How does that look?
Those are all very good questions. Yes, and it's
I don't have
obviously a very fast-moving, we've used the word fluid here many, many times, a very fast-moving environment. The president has signaled what he expects, what he is looking forward to. This is a cabinet and a government that acts to the nature of what he says and what he wants. And in this case, of course, I'm not going to discuss.
What? Just say you're not answering, Tammy. Just tell him, hey, no, and then move on. You don't need to do all this. That was wild. Hey, we're some type of government, right? Hey, we're a cabinet and we're a government and we do things, but I can't tell you
what that process will be, the nature of any of the applications via the various departments in this government. But clearly, we are focused on making sure that that guiding hand of President Trump prevails and moves this government forward. So we will have to wait and see when it comes to what that ends up looking like. All right.
Wow, what a non-answer. What a long-winded non-answer.
Yes, Andrea.
Andrea Mitchell.
Follow up.
Yes.
Does that mean, just to translate, are we lifting sanctions? Has anything happened to make that possible?
I'm not going to get ahead of the president or.
Then why do you even have these? What are you even for? Every single one is like this.
Try to guess at what his strategy will be, but it will.
You don't have to guess. You do these briefings to give people information about what the Secretary of State is doing. But I guess Marco Rubio is cucked to Trump too.
One that will benefit this country, and that again he's very clear. I think the difference is obviously sometimes you don't hear ahead of time.
It's almost like she's being a White House press secretary, and that's Nazi Barbie's job. Your job is to talk about what Marco Rubio and the Department of State are doing.
About the trajectory of a president with President Trump. He speaks honestly with us.
Jesus.
So I would suggest to not translate, to not speculate or guess.
I feel so safe
but to watch, because things happen quickly, and I think we'll find out sooner than later. Yes.
Things happen quickly, guys. Things happen fast.
And one more.
Quick follow-up on something.
One more.
You quoted the president saying it was my great honor to destroy all nuclear facilities to stop the war. As far as we know, the bomb damage assessment has not been done. The Joint Chiefs Chairman was talking about how long it might take. Do we have something more conclusive about destroying all of the nuclear facilities?
Trust him, okay? All right? What Trump says goes. Listen, Andrea Mitchell, okay? Fake news Mitchell.
Well, a conclusive comment for me would be coming from the President of the United States.
Exactly. What evidence do you have that we've destroyed Iran's nuclear facilities? Well, Trump's words.
I have great admiration for you, Andrea Mitchell, but I think he might know more than you do at this point.
Oh, take that, Andrea Mitchell. Fake news. Yeah, I didn't watch this. I just know how it goes now at this point.
More than any one of us here. At the same time, obviously, the information that we receive, that the American people receive, which will be public, will take some time. But President Trump has indicated his pleasure at the success of that raid, which obviously was very limited in scope. And that's a very good point, I think, at when it comes to the nature of what's occurred. And I'm pleased that the president is pleased.
Another non-answer. Andrea Mitchell's like, hey, yo, receipts? Can we get, like, receipts of the destroyed Iranian uranium facilities? Well, we don't have that. Well, she didn't even say that. She's just like, well, Donald Trump is right, and you're wrong, and he knows more than you. So, next question.
Sean Tandon.
Sure. Could I pursue that? I mean, another comment from the president this morning, he was saying that basically stop the bombs was the message that he sent.
Nice. This guy. Hell yeah.
To the Israelis. Does he believe that the Israelis complied with this? Is he happy with how it turned out?
Well, I think that there's early on, and again, I'm here at the State Department. I know my colleague.
That's why I wear hoodies on stream. I know you guys like other streamers that wear, I guess, for news reporting stuff. I don't know. I'm wearing hoodies and sweatpants or shorts when I'm doing news.
Caroline is very articulate and clear on the nature of the president, whom she represents, and the State Department at the White House. But I think when we clearly look at the nature of how the day has transpired, there was some activity back and forth, and that has stopped, and the ceasefire has taken effect, and the president is pleased. So I think we can take that as an indicator of his feeling about it at this point.
Sure.
One more.
Sure, and I mean, they're both statements both from Tehran and from Jerusalem and Tel Aviv today. But I mean, one of the things that from the Israeli military chief was saying that they reserve, this is just a phase, and they reserve the right to go back in. I mean, do you think that's consistent with the call for a ceasefire in terms of the Israeli statements on this?
Well, I think the statements that we've looked at that we care about are the fact that both, certainly Israel has agreed to the ceasefire. And we believe there's a statement.
Both, but certainly Israel has agreed.
From Iran that has done so as well. So those are the statements that we care about. All right. Yes, sir, in the back. Right there, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Tammy. Obviously, pretty epic diplomatic developments last night.
Pretty epic. Oh, boy. Who's this guy?
Can you walk us through any of the diplomatic steps that were taken that led to the ceasefire, and specifically Secretary Rubio's role? What are some of the ongoing efforts to make sure the ceasefire sticks?
Rubio is a cock.
A separate but related question. The President spoke this morning about the great trading potential with Iran. Does this administration envision a broader rapprochement with Tehran that could lead to diplomatic ties being established, even the embassy being reopened?
Well, on both those issues, I can't speak directly to them, but I can say a few things in that certainly I wasn't there. The Secretary of State was in a dynamic with the President that is...
We know you're not there. Your job is to report to the press what Marco Rubio does. What are you talking about? No shit.
Private dynamic.
You are a voice box for Marco Rubio. That is your job. And you are not, you are doing press secretary, White House job. You're like a Wish version of Caroline Leavitt here.
As that team.
Which she's already a Timu version of a press secretary.
Addressing a war and the nature of how to stop it. So I can't speak to how that transpired or the decisions that were made, but obviously a successful evening, successful aftermath when it comes also to
11.
A very quick ceasefire.
Wow.
In the meantime, for your
the ceasefire led to the ceasefire led to the quick ceasefire. Thanks, Tammy.
other question, which was, remind me again your second question?
Yeah,
well,
I forgot to.
President Trump this morning spoke a little bit about the potential for trade with Iran.
Oh, the trade.
Yeah, trading with Iran, right? A lot of people are like, yeah, let's blow up Iran because it'll help Ukraine. Or, oh, yeah, let's blow up Iran because it'll help Israel. Meanwhile, Trump's like, hey, we're trying to do some deals with Iran. We're trying to do regime change, dude. What are you talking about? Blow up Iran? Well, we're trying to put someone in there that we can trade with. What the fuck you mean? That's what Trump's on. But we have so many people that are so cooked because they live on hopium. You live off of hopium, okay? Trump wants they want the Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump too. They don't want to blow up Iran. They want the regime change so that way they can trade with them.
And trade question.
I was asking more about
and have access to more resources.
Yes, obviously, again, while I can't speak obviously to the choices President Trump will make, what we do all know is that he is a businessman. Americans
more trade partners would be nice, not with Iran or Russia or North Korea. You moron. We have so many trade partners already that we could create new. Trump did something with the UK, I guess. Whatever. We've basically destroyed trade with Canada. That was great. Now Canada's going to be part of the EU, and they'll have trade with better trading partners than us. To be honest, we have so many Western trading partners. We don't need Eastern trading partners unless they're trying to get their resources, which is what Russia wants to do with reunifying their Soviet Union. And Russia wants to get all those old Soviet countries back in the Soviet Union. That's why Putin's invading Ukraine. That's why he invaded Georgia, and that's why they occupy parts of Moldova.
Appreciate that about him. The nature
Transnistria and Moldova.
Of how he looks at.
They got Kaliningrad, and all they got to do is seal up the Suwalki gap between Poland and Latvia, and then bam, now Russia's even further into Europe. That's all they have to do. We're waiting on that one, by the way.
Issue of national security and safety, and he has in the past addressed the issue of relationships with this country, keep other nations secure, that we are a good friend to have, that a friendship with the United States assists and helps facilitate the natural national security of another nation. So I look at that and his approach in certain things, and that's been certainly his attitude about it, and it seems
you're probably
to
right,
be
Christopher.
a correct one.
I mean, it's like weapon. It's trade, right? Let me go back because I was talking over. It's like it's still trade though. It's weapons, yes, but it's still how the U.S. trades.
Can't speak obviously to the choices President Trump will make. What we do all know is that he is a businessman. Americans appreciate that about him, the nature of how he looks at the issue of national security and safety, and he has in the past addressed the issue of relationships with this country, keep other nations secure, that we are a good friend to have, that a friendship with the United States assists and helps facilitate the natural national security of another nation. So I look at that and his approach in certain things, and that's been certainly his attitude about it, and it seems to be a correct one. It's one I agree with. So I think we'll see that if that in fact is the case here, and we'll find out. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Tammy. Is there any sort of monitoring mechanism for the ceasefire if it continues to hold? Will there be a third party that is making sure that both sides are adhering to this ceasefire?
Well, as I said, the State Department, I can't really speak to that. I think that's a DOD question, and certainly.
No, it is very much a State Department question.
Only a White House question.
And then how do you view the next steps for nuclear talks potentially resuming in light of the ceasefire? Is there anything on the schedule, any follow-on conversations between the two sides to try to resume the talks that had been?
Well, I can't speak to a schedule.
Can't speak on anything, chat. Everything. Every single answer has been like, well, I can't speak to that. Well, I can't do this. Well, I don't know. Oh, Trump knows. You don't. Haha. That's been her answers.
I'm not going to guess or speculate about when something might happen. What we do know, and President Trump throughout this
Trump knows. We don't know. Trump knows.
Process had been tweeting about the fact that this would be a good time for negotiations to renew, for these talks to renew. Of course, with some disappointment that it got to this point. He has been committed to diplomacy and to discussions. Obviously, he's displayed that for these last 5 months, and I would think that has not changed. So the commitment, not just from President Trump, but also from Secretary Rubio, to minimize the need and go out of your way for the need to not engage militarily is clearly a hallmark for him and his view of national security and foreign policy, as it is for Secretary Rubio, and I would expect that approach and that commitment to remain the same.
Impeachment?
Yes, go ahead.
Thanks, Tammy. Just to follow on that, over the weekend, the president, many other cabinet members, they said that the strikes by the U.S. military on Iranian facilities had obliterated the nuclear program. Because of that, do you see that as buying more time for these negotiations to play out? Has the urgency at all changed? And there are reports that Qatar has tried to mediate nuclear talks, try to restart those. Are you receptive of Qatari efforts at this point?
Well, that's not something I can address in any detail at all. I do know that the president was very confident in his assertion of the destruction of those sites. That was necessary because of the point that he's had from the start of this, which is that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That has been a very singular, clear point, and the understanding is now they're not going to have one. And that clearly might open the door for the people involved in those kinds of decisions about how to move forward. But that was, and the strikes indicated that. It was a very distinctive, limited strike regarding the issue that was in the forefront of the president's mind, that he made clear over and over again, that they will not have a nuclear weapon. And now they will not have a nuclear weapon.
Do you know that this is going into the record? Like, what happens when Iran is moments away from a nuclear weapon again? All right, so they're gone. No more nukes. GG's, right? No more Iranian nukes. All gone. All of them destroyed. Remember that. Remember that.
How we move forward from here is up to the President of the United States. Saeed, yes, sir.
Thank you. Now that we have the ceasefire between Iran and Israel seems to be holding, are we likely to see renewed efforts to have a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza? I mean, just for figures, Tammy, maybe 400 people got killed in the exchanges between Israel and Iran in the same period. like 700 Palestinians have died, many of them at the aid distribution center.
Yeah, this is why, and we are reminded about why the ceasefire efforts are important. It is a reminder about why the president, and why we're lucky for President Trump to be our president and for Secretary Rubio to be focusing.
This is you know, 400 people have died between Iran and Israel, but we have 700 dead Palestinians at an aid station. Your thoughts? Yeah, this is why ceasefire is good and why Donald Trump is great. Next question. Thank you.
On changing the status quo on this planet and changing the old dynamic of wanting new ideas. It has been his hallmark from the start, and that has not changed. What we can say, and just as a reminder, Saeed, there is a deal on the table. Hamas must stop acting recklessly and accept it. As Special Envoy Witkoff has said, Hamas's recent response to the offer was totally unacceptable and only takes us backward. It hasn't been that long, right? A lot of stuff is happening in a short period of time. But the fact of the matter is that we've never stopped working for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. We've never stopped wanting that to end, to get us out of that repetition of something that has certainly made the first victims, the people of the Gaza
What are you saying? The first victims?
Strip, and then everyone else. It's
the first victims.
Reflection of what needs to end and what has been the problem. President Trump has made clear to, in this case, Hamas specifically, that they will face consequences if they continue to hold hostages, which they do, including those who have already passed away and those who are still living. Hamas has rejected repeated ceasefire proposals, and therefore.
Nope. That would be Israel breaking them. Nope. Sorry. That would be Israel breaking the ceasefire, which they did.
Bears sole responsibility for how this is continuing. Saeed, if you have
that was before Israel and Iran had been at war, which Israel, honestly, in my opinion, that Israel launched a war with Iran to distract from what they're doing to Gaza. And that is exactly what happened, because they broke the ceasefire prior to this.
I don't know if you do in your work, to pose the same question to Hamas. It would be, you could, I hope you might be asking them.
I'll do it through my article.
Right.
No direct communication.
All right. Yes, sir, there in the middle here.
That's why she, liar. Just, liar. We laugh and then we move on.
Pose the same question to Hamas. It would be
pose the same question to Hamas.
You could. I hope you might be asking them.
I'll do it through my article.
Right.
No direct communication.
All right. Yes, sir, there in the middle here. Yep.
Thank you very much.
As if that's like relevant. As if that's like an own. That one's been the worst one.
President Trump has long said that Iran should not have nuclear weapons.
That is correct.
That is clear. Do you think it is important for Iran to change its foreign policy, because the U.S. always says it is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism and destabilizing region?
I obviously can't speak to what's in the mind of the so-called leadership of Iran. I do know that the future of Iran is in the hands of the Iranian people. And whether or not certain individuals change their approach or belief, I think what has happened, the whole world has noted that the world has changed and that nothing will be the same. And how that plays out,
the world has changed. Incredible. Profound, Tammy. Thank you.
We're very lucky that we have President Donald Trump, Secretary of State Marco.
The world has changed. Thank God for Trump. That is literally like, that sums up the MAGA take. That's the that's a part of the politics of MAGA. Obviously, it's super fascist and lots of other things. But like, that is like in essence, wow, the world is crazy. Thank God we have Trump. And that's it, because it's a cult.
Rubio and a cabinet that is united in the nature of what we're trying to do for the next 3.5 years. One more, yes, sir.
One more. And please. Kurdistan regional government leadership and strongly welcome President Trump's statement about peace. Do you want to comment on it?
Well, no, there's again, things are happening and moving along so quickly. Obviously, everything.
Things are so fluid. Things are so fast.
In that region, in the Middle East, has changed. and we will have to see where those who are leading this charge and this change, again, the American leadership here with...
Stay from drugs? Okay. Well, I'm not going to do drugs, but I'm going to take a hit of my dab pen now for you. All right, we're going to smoke on that John Rocks packs here. That'll do it. Thanks, John.
Trump, Rubio, and J.D. Vance, of course, just strong leadership across the board. We're very lucky, as we've seen also with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. We are very early in this administration. Think about it. We are in the middle of June, and we've seen the results now of men and women who are focused. So we'll see for the Kurds and others as well.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Tammy. Two questions for you. Number one, especially considering the Secretary is now at NATO.
Yes.
Does the Secretary feel like European allies had America's back to the extent that they should in this Iranian operation? I'm not talking about militarily, but from a general support standpoint.
What the fuck would Europe have to do with this? Europe is trying to help Ukraine. It's not doing well, but like that they're focused on Russia's invasions. Russia is the actual like world terror, not Iran. It is what it is. Iran's a terror for Israel. The actual like big terrorist country is actually Russia, and that is the truth. So why the fuck would Europe be like other than because they're allied to the United States, and we work together with weapon systems and NATO, so like they'll have like obviously be paying attention to what American military is doing, right? But why would they even care right now?
On just platitudes of concern about the Iranian nuclear program. Do you feel like you got backing from Europe on this?
Nice.
Well, I'm not going to comment or speculate on
perfect dumb question with a dumb answer. Perfect.
The feelings or assessments of our partners in any kind of dynamic. That's between them. It's about the leaders of the world. Right now, what I can tell you is that President Trump and Secretary Rubio are right there in The Hague at NATO for conversations with our partners throughout Europe. And I think that everyone expects that to be very successful. It's going to be a very exciting time. It's a perfect time for those conversations to be had. I'm not going to speculate on the nature of those any conversations, or can speculate on the feelings of people either.
Second question for you.
Yes, sir.
You do that on Trump, though. You literally speculate on Trump's feelings and then pull up his truths, which are just his feelings.
In terms of regime change in Iran, the initial message coming out of the administration was, we're not after regime change, we're after the nuclear weapons program. Then the president remarked today, regime change is not a good idea because of the chaos that it would cause. So what is the administration, specifically the State Department's message here to Iranians who are suffering under the oppression of the regime? How do they move forward, and does America have their back, considering the president said regime change is not a good idea right now?
Well, again, that's in the perspective certainly of the president and what his actions, he feels what actions are important, what our intentions were. It was very clear from the start, from the very beginning. For years, the president has spoken about the problem of Iran and how they can't have a nuclear weapon. This is not a new idea, and it's certainly a globally held idea. But we've said here at the State Department repeatedly in a number of different dynamics that the fates of countries belong in the hands of the people in those countries. That is the overriding general message of the Marco Rubio State Department.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Finally, you represent Marco Rubio State Department instead of Donald Trump. Wow. You finally do that. Yeah, it's the Donald Trump's administration, but the Department of State and the Secretary of State should have like levels of autonomy, not ultimate autonomy, right? Because you answer to the president and you're a part of the cabinet, but you're supposed to be able to like operate on your own and have a State Department, not be a Donald Trump MAGA White House wing. I got a poll for you guys. Do you support regime change in Iran? Does that sound good? I want to know. Does that sound good to you guys?
It is the kind of thing that when we...
I think our regime changes have always gone well. Thank you, Natasha, for becoming a member of the YouTube channel. I appreciate that.
Think about, not just democracy, but the nature of the decision of citizens to decide what kind of leadership they want. That is what our position is.
I should remix the poll. Okay, if the Iranian people stand up actually and cause change, that's one thing. I'm talking about. I got to make it more specific. Do you support the U.S. conducting regime change? U.S. and Israel, the U.S. and Israel, because that's who it would be, conducting regime change in Iran. Because, like, yeah, I would support if there's like an actual revolution, like similar to probably like Ukraine's Maidan, where the people stood up against the government and then ended that shit themselves. Okay, this would be the U.S. and Israel conducting a regime change. It wouldn't be. I'm not seeing the Iranian people do that, and they've tried to protest the government, but it doesn't go anywhere, so I don't see it happening. There you go. That's a more specific poll. There you go.
For certainly Iran and every other country on this planet. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Tammy. 2 questions, one on Iran. Have you received any signals or message from Iran that they are willing to come back to the table? This first, and secondly, are you still sticking with the proposal that you sent to Iran, or you are open to discuss more broadly?
Well, again, as we know, many things have changed in just the last few days. And so I won't speak to what messages may have been sent to Iran, which would have been, of course, to the White House and to if Secretary Rubio as the National Security Advisor. So I would ask you to check with the White House for that.
And
the next
Syria,
one, yes.
Yeah, on your opening remarks, you said that the United States is ready to help the Syrian government to fight against forces seeking to create instability. Would you elaborate that? What kind of support are you willing to offer to the Syrian interim government? Are you willing to help them or provide them military support?
Well, I think already we know, of course, of the assignment as a special envoy of Ambassador Tom Barrack.
That's another tough example of, like, in Syria. They overthrew Bashar al-Assad. That happened last year. That one's a little trickier though, so I'm a little careful with that one because I'm not sure yet on how this new government will go overall. It's better than Bashar al-Assad, far better, night and day there, but still you got a lot of ties to certain organizations still, and things happening. Terror groups in Syria, so it's still a mess, but far better off than being under Bashar al-Assad.
Been a very clear indicator.
Dropping the barrel bombs on people in Syria. So you got it's literally night and day, but it's still like I don't know if I would use Syria as like an example of, I don't know. Revolutions aren't perfect, so I don't know. I don't know, but you can take that with however you want when it comes to Syria. But we watched that play out last year. It was cool.
And on
next
Syria,
one, yes.
Yeah, on your opening remarks, you said that the United States is ready to help the Syrian government to fight against forces seeking to create instability. Would you elaborate that? What kind of support are you willing to offer to the Syrian interim government? Are you willing to help them or provide them military support?
Well, I think already.
Speaking, have we even seen Bashar since he was overthrown? Has there been any public images of him?
We know, of course, of the assignment as a special envoy of Ambassador Tom Barrack. Has been a very clear indicator of our commitment to helping Syria be able to be a functional and steady and stable government.
Why do we even watch this? Because on my channel, I try to show you sources. And even though it's Tammy and this dog shit government, it's coming from them. So you can see how bad it is. I'm just not the type of streamer to just sit and talk as if it's like my opinion, which I have my opinions, but I get them because we watch content like this. And yeah, it can be boring sometimes. I'm sorry. It's not always riots and buildings burning and war. But I feel like when we watch things like this, you can hear it from the people that are in charge. And it's not just me telling you.
He, of course, is the ambassador to Turkey, and our commitment through his work is about getting the structure, the stability of the government as functional. We also, of course, as you know, have lifted many of the sanctions to make it possible for other nations in that region to assist the new government also in becoming stronger and able to, in that region especially, deal with terrorist groups, especially deal with ISIS, and that is our commitment. So it is, I think, manifesting now very clearly, and Ambassador Barak is there as our envoy in that regard, and it's a very exciting time with a lot of potential. Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. In the gray suit there. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Tammy. You've been in the negotiations process with the Iranians for almost the last 2 months at the State Department. And the Iranian foreign minister just last Friday, he said that they suspect that negotiations with the U.S. Used as a cover for the Israeli attack. And a day after that came the U.S. raid on Iranian nuclear establishment there and the buildings. Are you able to restore the trust between you and Iran? And how do you see these claims from the Iranian side?
Well, that's
really quick. I got to chat. Why did Israel attack during I mean, that's kind of par for the course. I mean, we've seen that before, right? I believe someone asked AI now, so it's AI, but it was like nine. I gotta look it up quick. How many times Israel has broken a ceasefire? As number only. It's been many times. 265 times. According to The Guardian, New York Post, AP, the People magazine, so take that for what you will. Reuters, Washington Post, CBS News, even Reddit. Amnesty, Time Magazine, Financial Times. I'm just reading the sourcing and how this number came about. Government websites, various government sourcings.gov websites. So it's been widely reported of Israel's breaching of ceasefires.
Certainly a question that I can't answer, but we've got the best people in the world who are doing this for a living, who have committed their lives to making a difference here in the world. The president has not indicated that, as a matter of fact, he really opened his presidency with a willingness to talk with everyone. And as a peacemaker, that is what he's done, and I would suspect that that approach will continue.
What about Matt?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tammy. Do you think that there is any lesson for North Korea to learn from the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, given that North Korea has been doubling down on its nuclear program, despite the Trump administration's commitment to the complete denuclearization of North Korea?
Well, again, the nature of the choices that are made, I won't speculate about what other countries should think or do. At the same time, President Trump, in his first term, made a significant outreach to North Korea. And what I can say, of course, and they've got their own nuclear program at North Korea, that we remain committed to the complete denuclearization of North Korea. That remains a commitment.
So are we going to send B-2 Spirit bombers over North Korea?
If the North Korean nuclear issue can't be resolved...
Why are we doing it to Russia?
Through dialogue, you know, I'm not going to speculate on...
Why just Iran?
Hypotheticals at this point, but thank you very much.
You know what I mean, chat?
All right, yes, there you are. Hello.
Thank you. Just on the follow-up on North Korea, has there been significant outreach from the State Department to the North Koreans?
I'm not going to speak to any, whether they exist or not, any diplomatic efforts outside. All right, all right. And yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Tammy. I just wonder whether you have any further information on reports of a drone attack that happened to multiple Iraqi military sites early this morning, local time, Tuesday. Whether you know at all whether Iran
Tuesday, bruv.
I would suggest that the DoD might be the place that it might have an answer to that.
Wow.
Anything else?
No, Tammy Bruce is Secretary of State.
Daphne, you're good? All right. And then, yes, go ahead, sir, at the end.
Oh, she's not. She's Marco Rubio's Secretary of State. She's Marco Rubio's press secretary.
Material that was removed from those nuclear sites or satellite pictures of trucks lined
Oh,
out.
nothing. I can tell you nothing. Just saving some time here. Yeah, I'm not going to speculate or.
What?
And then, yes, go ahead, sir, at the end.
It's about the material that was removed from those nuclear sites or satellite pictures of trucks lined out.
Oh, nothing. I can tell you nothing.
Why can't you say anything? Why'd you say it so fast? So he's like, hey, there's some satellite images of the Iranians moving their nuclear material away from the facility prior to the bombings. Your thoughts? Hey, whoa, hey, now. Whoa, buddy. Hold on, pal. One more time.
Was removed from those nuclear sites or satellite pictures of trucks lined out.
Oh, nothing. I can tell you nothing. Just saving some time here. Yeah, I'm not going to speculate or discuss what may or may not have been removed from a particular site.
Well, then can you tell us, based on what you do know...
Well, buddy, we don't do facts here.
How far, how many
I can talk about the English royal family. I love them. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
How many years would this have...
Yeah, look at this poor guy. This guy right here. He's like, I need to retire. Look at... He's not laughing because she made a joke. He's laughing. The guy that asked about the Palestinians, the bald guy. I've been peeping him during these, and he's probably gonna retire soon. I don't blame him. I don't know who he's a journalist for, but he's like totally over it. Like he's totally done.
How many
I can talk about the English royal family. I love them. Yes.
How many years would this have knocked back the nuclear program, and could that have been avoided if the U.S. had remained in the JCPOA?
When it comes to what's happened with Iran, we can look back several decades about the nature of the choices that certain administrations made that helped facilitate the nature of the building of that program. Donald Trump inherited a world, he'd left a world that was at peace, and he inherited one that was...
Oh boy. Trump left a world in peace as Ashley Babbitt was being buried and the Capitol was being like ketchup and shit was being cleaned off the walls. Not to mention Russia was in Ukraine still. Not to mention we were still in the Middle East, like in Afghanistan. Still fighting. What are you talking about?
Tipping over.
Wow.
And so his commitment and what we look at here right now is recognizing what the status of things and what needs to be done to fix them.
Wow.
And that's what we're focused on. All right. And Matt Lee, I have a feeling you might...
Oh, finally, Matt. We get to Matt.
have a question. I vaguely remember
that.
that.
But now it turns out that the
you have a different one.
I answered, so I do have a different one.
Okay, good.
But all I was trying to find out was whether you didn't mention it that this Mr. Habibi was an American, which it turns out that he is. But
this guy's over it too. The guy behind him and this guy are like over her.
Has he been wrongfully determined to be wrongfully detained?
We have determined that he has been disappeared, and that he has not been heard from. And that is why there's the rewards for justice, is that he was taken and he has not been heard from since.
Okay.
And we are hoping that this appeal may bring forward with up to $5 million. It makes a difference in everyone's lives.
Now it's up to $5 million. First it was $5 million. Now it's up to $5 million. Boy, you're getting a fucking pack of Marlboro Reds, a bag of Doritos, and a scratch off from this administration. And you're lucky if you get that. And the scratch off is probably already used.
It does.
That we might get some information about him.
Okay, then just the other thing was you had been asked earlier and yesterday, I think, about this money that is apparently going to go to fund the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Have you been able to uncover anything about that?
Well, here's what has always been the case with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. I now know that there's, I think it's close to 44 million meals that have been distributed, which is a pretty darn good record, and they continue now at 4 sites to distribute them. We have repeatedly noted that we have not funded this entity, but It is, I believe, really the response of the call from President Trump for that region and that area in particular, that we've got to have new ideas about how to change the nature of what's occurring. The region has stepped up. Other nations have stepped up, agreeing that the situation in Gaza has to be dealt with differently. We have to refuse to let it continue. And while we have
let what continue, and who's doing it? How about that?
Humanitarian crisis manifesting, is to do our best in an area that a terrorist group refuses to cooperate, ignores ceasefires, continues to hold hostages, and refuses to put down their weapons, that we are committed to.
Almost sounds like she's talking about Israel there for a second. in a parallel universe or whatever, in like a multiverse, it's like almost directly accurate to description of the Israeli government.
Endorsing, helping, promoting efforts.
We are held hostage
to make a difference.
We're all held
when it
hostage.
comes to how that will manifest for the GHF, I can't say right now. But again, it's nice to know that 44 million meals have been distributed. That, like everything else for the last few days in the Middle East, everything has changed. How that manifests in the Gaza Strip is yet to be determined, but I'm sure we have another briefing on Thursday, and who knows, we'll have something new at that point as well. All right, yes.
Tomorrow? Another one tomorrow? Oh, great.
And this will be
Tammy, this weekend, Keith Kellogg went to Belarus, and it secured the release of 14 political prisoners. Do you have any more
It's a lot of Tammy Bruce, dude.
details on those efforts? And did the Lukashenko regime get anything for releasing these prisoners, sanctions relief?
I do have a few things I can say to you about that. And this is the condition of our world. This is a huge story, and it really is, comes up later, but it tells you the nature of what's transpiring.
It's your fault. It's Trump government. Trump government decided to turn its back on what's happening in Europe and also force NATO partners to pay 5% now. That's probably what's going to happen next. Get ready. Loading. Trump's going to come away from the NATO summit asking, and this is a guess. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I'll say whatever, I was wrong. But I bet you it's going to be some shit about NATO partners have to pay 5% now. Well, we don't, but they do. That's what's probably going to come out. Anyways, the reason why the Lukashenko thing and whatever's happening there is not like the headline news is because we've turned our back on Ukraine and what Russia's doing to it as a country, as like, not like everybody. I'm not saying individuals. I'm saying at a state level, our government and Donald Trump and the MAGA government have stopped supporting Ukraine, which also will then reflect in the news, and people will talk about what we're directly doing in the Middle East instead, because that's what we're doing. If we were still helping Ukraine, or if we were still engaged in European politics, like when Biden was president, and it still wasn't good enough, but at least he was there all the time, and like we had a contact group with Lloyd Austin. Sorry, with Pete Hegseth took his job, but Lloyd Austin every week met with a contact group, which was happening in Europe, and our European our commanders that are in Europe at the bases there. None of that's happening anymore. That's all like done. So that is why the whatever deal with Lukashenko, Tammy, is not the headline news, because of your own actions and your own government's actions.
While in Minsk, the U.S. delegation led by General Keith Kellogg, Special Presidential Envoy for Ukraine, met with the leader of Belarus and his team. Special Envoy Kellogg discussed the Russia-Ukraine war and how
now you have Special Envoy Kellogg, when we had actual government figures working with European partners for the past 4 years. That's been happening. Now you have Witkoff and Kellogg. Those two are doing it, and they are the worst.
And Trump is pushing hard to stop that war and end the killing. And Deputy Special Envoy John Cole led the discussions on U.S.-Belarus bilateral relations, which resulted in the release of 14 long-held political prisoners from Estonia, Japan, Latvia, Poland, Sweden, and Belarus. And that is the result of what you can do with diplomacy, with envoys, and with a commitment to peace and freedom for people around the world. And we are blessed to have President Trump as our president.
Oh, my God.
The wisdom of the American people, and of course, Mark.
Why does she have to? It's almost like a ChatGPT ending. That's what that sounds like when you have to say, thank God for Trump, and without him, everything would suck. Oh my God. Every time, bro.
Rubio is our Secretary of State. We are 5 months in or so to this administration.
And Marco.
And it's an honor to be here. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you on Thursday.
Thank God. See you next
Thank you.
Tuesday. No more questions. We're done. I said we're done. Wow, what a whole lot of nothing. She got to get to brunch with Hegseth. Buy one. They got a double up for $1 going. Meat raffle today. Jesus. Well, would you guys learn anything other than, at least right now, I haven't seen any reports of more missiles being exchanged, but the ceasefire was broken this morning. Intel assessment contradicts Trump. MSNBC hanging by a thread. Fox News. Is Trump a Mount Rushmore level president? Bro. So, all right, the truth is the ceasefire is holding right now. But as you guys experienced yesterday, that can literally change in like 5 minutes, okay? So now I was trying to post it, and I was trying to keep up with it, and thank God even my MAGA followers were telling other MAGA people that were like, Merc, you're like CNN because you're posting updates before. Shit happens every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes yesterday. Thank God it's not the same way today. Well, it was this morning, but as of right now, it's not. So ceasefire is holding, but again, that can literally change in the drop of a hat, and then we're back in, ceasefire broken, breaking news, and then we're watching, or like I wasn't live last night because I was playing softball, but like other streamers were up streaming the skyline in Tel Aviv, and then here comes rockets, or there Tehran, and there goes rockets back. So, you know, it is what it is. If you can't handle the flow of information, then just say that. Say that instead. Iran's enrichment uranium stockpile was most. Tehran Times. The war between Iran and Israel appeared to grind to a halt Tuesday after a dizzying 12 days in which the world watched President Trump demand the evacuation of Tehran's 10 million residents, threatened to assassinate Iran's leader, advocate for regime change, launch strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, and then claim he harbored no beef with the Iranian government, even wished for God to bless Iran. So a lot happened. A lot's happened. Kyle Porterhouse. Only set back by months now. Oh boy, months away now. They went from weeks to months. It's like the nuclear clock. That should be the new clock. When does Iran get nukes? There should be an account. There needs to be a Twitter account about Iranian nukes and how close they are, and it'll change just like the nuclear clock does. How many seconds we are away to midnight, how many days, weeks, or months Iran's away from nukes, and that'll fluctuate. That'll change. It'll be fun to watch. Someone should do that. There's an idea. Is this the new movement photo? There you go. We need this, guys. Print this out and put it on signs and go to the protests with it. This is amazing. Make that. That's your new protest sign. Be out there with it. Holy. All right, what is the latest? Let's go to the AP wire before CNN's wire. Okay, European Union says lasting solution to Iran nuclear issue can only be through a negotiated deal. So Europe is like, yeah, America bombed Iran, and I guess that was cool seeing their alien planes, but it still needs to be negotiated. So we did all of that for honestly nothing, to be honest, other than to pat ourselves on the back and say, oh, look, cool alien plane, which that is the B-2 Spirit bomber is pretty sick. It's sick, but it's like we used it for fuck all, basically. Honestly, that's what it's looking like. That's what it's appearing right now. Okay, based on evidence and facts. But I know we don't like to operate off of evidence and facts anymore. Okay, feelings It's a big feelings-based environment with the American government right now. So EU Ambassador Stavros holy shit. Stavros Lambridinis told the U.S. Security Council that following the Iran-Israel ceasefire that we urgently need to come back to a diplomatic solution. He said Iran's nuclear program can be only addressed with adequate involvement of the international community. Ensuring Iran doesn't acquire or develop a nuke is a key security priority for the 27-nation EU. Lambridinis said the UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, must remain the sole impartial and independent internal organization to monitor and verify the implementation of Iran's nuclear non-proliferation commitments. Well, Donald Trump left that. Okay, we had a Iran deal. Obama negotiated an actual deal with Iran through diplomatic means, and Trump destroyed that in his first term. And now Iran's like, well, what IAEA? What nuclear treaties? Well, the American president ended them. We had one made with the previous one, and now the new one destroyed it. So it is what it is. That's what. And if you're Iran, you got the capability to build nukes. So I want you to say fuck all the Western organizations if the American president will just kill any deal that is made for us to stop making nukes. Israel-Iran ceasefires opportunity to avoid catastrophic escalation. Rosemary DiCarlo told the UN Security Council that the ceasefire is also an opportunity to peacefully resolve the Iran's nuclear issue. So they're trying to get diplomacy back and get an actual deal through. And Donald Trump is trying to do this from Truth Social. But again, he's going to the NATO, let me see what they got. NATO conference now. He left this morning. He's going to meet with Zelensky. I got the public forum already happened. So you got the summit happening right now. There he is. He's already there. So you got there an hour ago, it looks like. So you're probably going to get a lot more geopolitical information, which I got you guys because we've been covering geopolitics for the past few years now. So if you're new to it, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm like I don't know everything. But when it comes to these summits and what our government will be doing at them, I can do that for you. I'm not, European politics is like hard mode, okay? You want to do geopolitics? Good luck. Have fun. American politics is already a roller coaster. There he is. He's at the Royal Palace. Holy, did you get a suit that fits you, Trump? What the hell? God, he looks like shit, doesn't he? Just looks like shit. He's all puffy and...
Mr. President, please. One picture.
Israel and Iran's been stressing him out, huh? I don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's what it looks like. Put him through the ringer. Holy cow. Thought we could just go in, bomb the fuck out of Iran, and leave. No, it didn't work, I guess. You had a stroke? You think so? I don't know. Israel's UN ambassador says diplomacy will happen soon following the Israel-Iran ceasefire. Okay. It'll happen soon. We're weeks Israel says we're weeks away from diplomacy. We're now months away. Okay. And they're also suggesting Donald Trump gets a peace prize for this. So I will lose all faith in the whole world. I've lost faith in the US mostly, but the whole world will go if he gets a peace prize for any of this. And then you can't just be like, oh, Americans are cooked. Nope, it's the world. If that happens. Fragile ceasefire. Okay, what do you got here? Live updates. It's moved here, okay? 3 people killed in missile strike. That was 16 hours ago. Okay, so it looks like the biggest Israel-Iran war updates are 16 hours ago now. So, guys, overall, for now, the ceasefire is holding at this moment. Obviously, again, stay ready, willing, and able for that information to change. Don't be upset if it does. Just be ready. Hope it stays the same and diplomacy will work. But you know, history in the region has told us otherwise. It's gone a different way. You live close to the NATO top, huh? You live close. So, and then obviously with this update, has he posted any new truths today? Any new truth for everybody? Trump, we gotta go to Truth Social. See, has he barked about NATO yet? Oh, he posted his arrival at the Netherlands. Okay. Greets King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. Wow. Okay, and shares an end wokeness post. Nice. Okay. Okay. Shitting on Biden. Okay. Fox News post. It's like literally watching your MAGA uncle's Facebook posts. Okay. So California guards justified per Fox News opinion piece. Nice. More Fox News opinion piece. Nice. Okay. What else? More ICE is good. Okay. What is this? International Longshoremen's Association. Wow. What the hell do they do? What are they up? What's their thing? It's a union. A maritime union. Okay. On behalf of 85,000 in the Maritime Union of the ILA, we want to thank you for bombing Iran. Wow. Respectfully, Harold Daggett. Thank you. Incredible. You know, thought labor unions were supposed to shut up and just work. Keep the politics out of the labor union. The hell? I never saw The Wire. They're pirates. Pirate union? Don't make it sound cool. What Biden did to this, shitting on Biden. Okay, so nothing major from him. Shitting on Biden, Biden bad, a whole lot of Fox News opinion pieces. This is how you know it's there's nothing to really focus on right now. Of course, thank you, Nikki. Okay, libs of TikTok, awesome. Incredible. Wow. Wow. Whole lot of MAGA accounts getting boosted here. Oh, there's Russian Benny Johnson. Benny, I get paid by Russia Johnson. New York Post, great. That's great. Opinion piece, nice. It literally even says opinion on the thing. That's great. I love that. Trump nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. Wow. Earl L. Buddy Carter, member of Congress. Okay. Well, what's this? Okay, shitting on non-MAGA Republicans. Okay. Rhinos. Okay. Mike Huckabee is all right, giving back to Mike Huckabee for saying God has trusted you with this. Mike Huckabee sent him a long text saying, you know, you're God's chosen one. Okay, shitting on AOC. This literally is like no different than any right-wing postings, honestly, at this point. Nothing profound, nothing even important to look at, until the times we have to, and we have to literally look at these to wait for like an update of whether we're going to war or not. And then it's like, what is this? Mark Rutt. Dear Mr. President, dear Donald, congratulations and thank you for your decisive action in Iran. That was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared us to do. It makes us all safer. You're flying into another big success in The Hague this evening. It was not easy, but we've got them all to sign on to 5%. Oh, wow. So he is going to get the 5% increase. Donald, you have driven us to a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. You will achieve something no American president in decades could get done. Europe is going to pay in a big way, as they should, and it will be your win. Safe travels and seas. Nice job, Europe. Anyone looking to Europe for this situation, boy, they are cucked to the U.S. It is what it is. Sucks being cucked to Trump, though. That sucks, doesn't it? It's better the other way, but everyone's finding out. Everyone's learning. This is all a learning lesson again, and we can do it all again in 8 years from now, and we'll all learn this lesson again. But it'll probably be worse. I just want to do that. Massey, who is seemingly one of the few or only MAGA Republicans to go against the grain heavily, looks like he's getting a lot of support for it too, to be honest. Like I think he might be a wild card. He might be like a Rand Paul of MAGA, even though Rand Paul is kind of MAGA-ish now, but Rand Paul is more libertarian. But Thomas Massey might be the new Rand Paul. I don't know. Weird. It's weird. But he's going against the grain, and he's not getting, like, people are trying. Like, I'm reading the comments. I'm seeing what MAGA is saying back to him. And it's like a mix, honestly. He's not getting ratioed or anything for it on the MAGA app. Like, you can see there's a lot of people leaving comments. It's a lot of comments, but look at that. First MAGA to go against Trump. I don't know, like, they've done it, but then they just come out, they just become non-MAGA Republicans or whatever. Or become Democrats. But Massey is like staying MAGA and doing this. And he's like the first one, I think, to do that. And that's different. I wonder if other... Oh, shit. I wonder if other VPs had as much excitement as I do. Ask Mike Pence. Oh, my... Holy... Jeez, Thomas Massey. Got him. Golly. Holy cow. This is the new fight to watch. First you had Elon and Trump, and now you got Thomas Massey. I don't know. Trump is in his last term, and he's not popular at all, to be honest. Even with it, MAGA is confused right now. They want to stay MAGA. They want to stay that, but like the Trump is, I don't know, like the regime change within MAGA is coming. Okay, they're weeks away. Like Trump is still the god, he's still the king, but understandably he can't be the king for much longer. In theory, maybe, hopefully, I don't know, but I hope so. Hope 2028 isn't actual civil war. Okay, but he's only supposed to have this last term, and then they got to find a new one anyways. But it's a lot of confusion right now over there. But I'm seeing more support for Massey than I expected. I expected him to get immediately rhinoed and cast away from the MAGA now, but I don't know. He's holding right now. We have the Thomas Massey Trump volleys have been wild. That's crazy. First MAGA to stay MAGA to go against Trump. I'll give him credit where it's due. That's about it, though, because his politics are still dog shit. But I'll give him credit for going against the king. That's where we're at now. That's where we're at, unfortunately. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator John Fetterman, a lot of the people on the left love him now. The entire world witnessed it took mere days to break Iran into submission. Israel and America demonstrated Iran was the world's largest paper tiger. Both Iran and Hamas broken. Now, let's continue demanding the release of hostages and bring peace to Gaza. Profound. There you go. I don't know what's going to... No, I think Massey will be a Rand Paul. If you're not going to see Massey leave the right wing and be Democrat. But I think John Fetterman, though, boy, will he be a Republican before it's all said and done. He'll be a Republican. He'll be able to represent the non-MAGA Republicans in the Republican Party. Holy. Be careful on X. Could have been bad there if I would have scrolled another half scroll. Jeez, dude. JD learning how the couch... oh my God. Help. Help, dude. So we're going to have a angry... So Trump will be at the NATO summit, and he's going to write an angry truth about Massey now. University group assignments.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Is this Zelensky's opening at the NATO summit? Okay. 43-second clip. Let's check it out.
В один чи в інший спосіб життя.
Oh, why is it like that? Okay, he's speaking in English. Got to have it Ukrainian translated. That's backwards than what we've usually heard. Okay, so he's going to meet with Trump too. Okay, is there a clip of...
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Trump will probably have that tomorrow, guys. Like,
so much.
Made yesterday announcement that European and Canadian allies have now pledged more than 35 billion euros in support for Ukraine, which is more than last year, because last year, for the full year, it was over 50 billion. Now, before the 1st of July, it is already 35 billion. So we can safely assume that for the full year, it will be more than last year.
There are no signs that Putin...
It's going to provide Trump a win, and just be ready for that with 5%. But Mark Rutte probably had to lobby the other European countries for this because they need to do it for Ukraine, or because of Russia, because Russia is a real threat, and you can cope and see the Americans if you're like cooked on Ukraine for whatever reason. You don't understand what Russia's doing and what Russia wants to do and how they're the actual major imperial power. Like, yes, is Iran like a threat in the Middle East with their proxies? Yes, but are they a threat for Israel? Russia is a threat to multiple European countries, including the United States, because they've already been meddling within our elections and destabilizing our country through our administration that we have right now. Okay, it's happening. So Europe needs to have ways to support their defense or get their defense industry going, because a lot of them are not doing that still. And it's going to require likely that 5% from NATO European countries to get it going, actually. So, while again, it's going to be annoying because it will provide Trump his 5% win if Mark Rutte really did get that, which we'll find out. It's likely because of the situation in Europe and Russia.
Putin wants to stop this war. Russia rejects all peace proposals, including those from the United States of America. Putin only thinks about war. Russia is even planning new military operations on NATO territory, meaning your countries, and this war is now on in Ukraine, and it's to get prepared, well, to be ready. European countries need to increase defense spending. We believe that 5% of GDP.
So you got Zelensky. So this, honestly, then if you got Zelensky saying this and then NATO's down, then Trump, if Trump still has an issue with NATO, then it's got to be like Russia is absolutely funding him, and it's got to be in 4K and everything. Europe is giving him Trump everything he wants. Ukraine is giving him everything he wants so far. Signed all the deals, giving him the rare earths, the mineral deal, and everything without any ceasefire or anything, because Russia is still invading. They're still trying to take ground. And Europe's going to do the same thing. So if after Europe is now literally giving Trump everything he wants and not fighting back against him and literally glazing him for it, it's a political strategy more so than anything. Okay. It could be weakness, but it's political strategy because of the reality of Russia. And that is more important than that. Like trying to kiss Trump's ass is a temporary L for the larger W of defending your country against Russia, or defeating Russia like Ukraine needs to, because they won't stop until they're defeated, actually. So you're gonna have that. Just be ready for it.
Is the right level.
Okay, 5% is the right level. So you got Zelensky advocating for it. Mark Rutte sent a text to Trump saying yes. So Trump might have a good week in NATO summit because he hasn't had them. He hasn't had any good ones. It's always been bad for him because he goes in there and tries to strong arm everyone and act better than everybody, and it's just never gone well. So this could be the first, like, especially after coming out of Israel, Iran, and going back and forth with that, or his idea of that, obviously, and his Truth Social postings, and then he goes to NATO summit and gets everything he wants, or he's asked for. But again, we'll see if it's truly what Trump wants, or if the goalposts change, which often happens, right? So it could be a new ask. Oh, we actually need 7%. No, we need 10%, or something, right? That's par for the course. We'll see if he's satisfied. Okay. And again, there's Russia's losses as we round out the updates. Okay. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. I don't want to keep you if I don't have anything else, but I do have gaming tonight. I already have it scheduled, but I'm going to move it up so we can start a little earlier because I want to play the second one. The second one's out, so we have to finish the first one. Dude, Death Stranding 2 is going to be one of the Game of the Year contenders. It's going to be between Claire Obscure 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Death Stranding 2. Those would be like the top 3, all right? But we have to finish the first one because I've never seen the ending. But I already have the second one. It's installed on my PlayStation. I just haven't opened it, or I haven't cheated on you guys, those that watch my gaming streams. So we're going to finish this. Hopefully, we have a lot to go, actually. We're a little over halfway. I thought we were almost done, but we're not. So we have a lot to finish in this one, and I'm hoping we get it done, and then Friday night we can play the second one. And I want to do a 24-hour stream. Okay, 24-hour stream from Friday into Saturday. I'm hoping I can do it unless World War III breaks out again or something. All right, I'm hoping we can do this. So tonight, tomorrow night, we're going to do a news update tomorrow again. So see you guys that watch my news updates back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. But we'll be gaming tonight, and then we'll be gaming again tomorrow, and then Death Stranding on Friday night. Okay, guys? You guys have a good one. Hope to see you over on my gaming channel. If not, like and subscribe. Follow on Twitch. Follow on Facebook. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Daily updates at 3 p.m. Eastern. Breaking news updates when they happen. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.